No, I am allowed to shuffle your deck when you present it. That's what presenting your deck is for. Gotta make sure you shuffle properly. Hello, Planeswalkers Theoric 6 back with some more Magic the Gathering Arena. Today we are going to start the Mythic climb. That's why I did that weird intro with like a spiky comment. I absolutely shuffle my opponent's decks in real life when they present it to me because I think it's the correct thing to do. I do, of course, hope you go to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. It's a good deal. It helps support the show. And they still have those sweet $7.99 Dragon Shield sleeves. If you go over to like Card Kingdom, it's like $9.99, $10.99, something like that. So I mean, you're saving a couple bucks. On top of that, you're also going to save 10%. It's great. Well, if your order's over $10, but whatever. It's great. It's awesome. It's absolutely great. Anyway, today we're gonna start our Mythic climb. I did technically have the Gruul deck, but our Mythic climb is mostly going to be with just a few decks. Probably mostly with Bolas control because I think that's my favorite for right now. Obviously, when War comes out, things are going to change just a little bit. But for a little bit, it's going to be Mythic Bolas. We're going to try and figure out which Abzan deck we prefer. And we may play actual Sultai midrange in there somewhere. But for the most part, it's going to be Abzan and Nicol Bolas. Now, this is the slightly modified Nicol Bolas deck that we have here. We're running 3 Duress in the main deck because Duress is just a very strong card against pretty much the entire field because very many decks are playing very strong non-creature spells. We're running 2 Sorceress Cantos. The only reason we're running 2 is that we kind of need slots for other things, and since it's legendary, we don't need to see it every single game, but seeing it once per match is sufficient. And it just allows us to get a fantastic top deck game, and that we're allowed to decide what to keep on top. And then, of course, when you flip it, we can get all of our sweet non-creature threats. 2 Cast Down and 1 Moment of Craving. This is kind of our early game removal. Since I haven't been seeing very many aggro decks in best of 3, I figure that Cast Down is slightly better than Moment of Craving. But just in case that deck, does arrive, we want to make sure that we can have a little bit of life gain and ways to deal with the Danto Vanguard. 4 Thought Erasure is very similar to Duress. It's just a real strong card. It's discard that you get a Surveil. It's been very difficult in the past for 2 mana discard cards to really work. Cough, cough, besides Hymn to Turok. Because at that point, theoretically, your opponent may have already had the really powerful starts. This, I'm, of course, looking at more of the Eternal Formats. But Thought Erasure is actually, like, just a really strong card. Like, in Standard, it's fantastic. I actually don't know if it's played in Modern at all. But I don't think Blue-Black is played much in Modern. Oh, well. 4 Thief of Sanity. Now, you might be asking yourself, why is this in your control deck? The reason for that is because it's real damn good. It applies a large amount of pressure on both mid-range and opposing control opponents, and that pressure allows us to get away with other things that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do. Now, of course, it's important to note that it does mean that when you're going up against these control decks, more of their removal spells will be live because we have this creature in the deck. But something you can do, which is really nice, is take this out in game 2, if you like won game 1 or something, or if you lost, you can take this out in game 2, and then if you go to a game 3, you can choose to bring it back in or not, depending exactly on what you feel your needs are against this individual opponent. And they'll have to, figure out how much removal they're going to keep in the deck for creatures, because other than Thief of Sanity, we just have a few Nicol Bolases. 2 Sinister Sabotage. This used to be ionized, but I realized that I don't need it. This is mostly a blue-black control deck that has some red later on. Honestly, I could possibly even trim down the red, but I think I'm maximizing blue and black in my mana base. There are no basic mountains in here. I just use Easy Mode's Sweet Guide to figure out this mana base. But Sabotage, the reason it's nice is that we don't need the 2 damage from the Ionize as much as I had in the previous iterations. So getting the extra Surveil is a lot more important than that random chip damage. 2 Crowd the Carnariums. As I said, we don't see a ton of super fast aggressive decks. If I find that I'm just not seeing them at all, I'll probably relegate to this to the sideboard. And I should note that I will be making changes to these decks probably relatively frequently. And I'm not going to re-go over full entire deck list, but I will discuss the small changes that I do make from episode to episode. But Crowd the Carnarium, very important for those super fast decks. 3 Nicol Bolas. I really wish I could play 4, but this is legendary, and even though it does get removed a lot, you don't really want to see multiples, more than 2 at least, in an individual game, and we just wanted a few more slots for things like Chemister's Insight and Contempt. So running this at 4, this is kind of like the main win condition, because if you're against pretty much every deck, it's going to be a 2-for-1 by itself, forcing them to discard. as well as forcing them to either remove it with something, or you can use it as a blocker. And then, of course, if they can't answer it, and you are able to successfully flip Nicol, you just win the game. There are so few scenarios. There are scenarios where you can lose the game. Essentially, like you +2, draw 2 lands. Your opponent draws removal and just beats you down because you keep flooding out or something like that. But then, at that point, it's not really Bolas' fault. It's the deck's fault for giving you too many lands. It's just a fantastic card. 2 Chemister's Insights because we want to draw cards. 3 Vraska's Contempt because screw you, planeswalkers and creatures. 2 Carnival Carnage. I really have been liking this card a ton, and the reason for that is it's fantastic against the super aggressive decks because it can deal with their early game plays. It's also fantastic against ramp style decks that use Llanowar Elves because you can kill their elf on turn 1 and you'll get a little bit of chip damage, whatever. But also it's very versatile in the fact that if you aren't against one of those decks, or if you find yourself needing the discard or the final damage instead, you have Carnage to be able to just force your opponent to lose 2 cards and 3 life. And that can just be very backbreaking for control opponents to lose that card advantage. 2 Eldest Reborns, it's just so much value. I talked about this card way too many times. Angrath, make your opponent discard a card and lose 2 life. The discard is helpful against pretty much every deck. The loss of life is better against control because of the fact that it by itself is a nice threat. The -3, fantastic against aggro and midrange, but less great against control, unless of course you're stealing their Niv Mizzet and killing them with it. And then of course -8, you could win with this against control, but typically they're going to either be dead or just concede by the time you get to 8, or they have killed Angrath and don't care. This is our mana base, as I said. I used Easemode's helpful guide to help me. I don't know why I said helpful twice, but whatever, it's fine. Sideboard. 2 Disdainful Stroke and 2 Negate. These are very helpful against the other mid-range control decks. 2 Direfleet Daredevils. This is, once again, very helpful against these spell-heavy decks that are using very high-impact spells that we can just steal and be happy about it. Very nice. 2 Lava Coils. Helps with Drakes. It helps with other cards that, can't be killed normally. Anything that you really want to exile in recursive decks, things like that. Very helpful. 2 Unmoored Egos. We're playing best of 3, so that you know what that means. We have possibility of playing against Nexus of Fate. That's what that's for. 1 Ritual of Soot. As I said, not a lot of aggro that I've seen so far. I can't wait for all of my games today to be against aggro, but whatever. So that's only 1 slot in the sideboard. It'll go up or down depending on what I see. 3 Hostage Takers. It's a value card. It's good against a lot of decks. I'm really going to try to not make this just a Grixis mid-range deck because I want it to control, but whatever. And of course, 1 Ralzeric because he is value against the control decks. It's very helpful. And we're going to go ahead and play some Mythic Balls. Now, I should note that I did, although I said I wasn't going to, I did actually play a game off camera because I'm a Scrublord. It was against a 4-color Reclamation deck, and I crushed them, completely crushed them, and it was all because of Thief of Sanity. I was able to pressure them with Thief, and then just hold up counter spells, right? Or I should say counters and removal. I will play first, thank you very much. This hand is a bit slow if we're going up against aggro, and I think for that exact reason we might need to mulligan here. Something I want to try and do is be a little bit more aggressive in my mulligans. This hand is okay, but it does nothing, absolutely nothing until turn 4, and we can't really accept that, I don't think, in a blind match. If this were game 2 and I knew I was against control, I'd more likely keep this. This is fine. This is a fine hand. It's not great, but the fact that we have Surveil is very helpful. And our opponent mulliganed as well, so this should be fine. Mulliganed a second time. This is looking good for us. Alright. I assume this is going to be a... I assume my opponent's going to concede again? What kind of player... That couldn't have been an aggro deck, right? I'm going to do something dangerous, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the Cry of Carnariums, and I'm going to add in Hostage Takers. And the reason for that is that Hostage Taker can still help if this is an aggressive deck, but if it's not, if it's a deck that has artifacts or early game creatures like Thief of Sanity, then I'll be able to utilize that as well. I'll still be able to have Hostage Taker, and for what it's worth, I can just play out a Hostage Taker. The reason I didn't add something in like the Negates or Disdainful Strokes or the Rals is because they are a little bit too slow if this is still a creature deck. My opponent, though, was not sure of what I'm doing. This is a fantastic hand. If they are a fast deck, I have stuff for that. If not, I have Thief for that. It's totally fine. So let's see exactly. Yep, black. Interesting. I'll go ahead and just play the Crypt here. Is this an Esper control deck? Is it mono black? Huh. So Cry the Carnarium, technically the correct decision to have, but it's actually fine. Very interesting. Very possible I'm going to Carnival this in response to my opponent playing something. But we'll get there when we get there. I'll take 1 damage. I do not mind that at all. Yeah, that's fine. I do assume my opponent is going to have a decent amount of removal. I do want to Carnival this. I guess not. They're definitely holding up removal, I guess. I think it is better just to hold out and probably use the Carnage. Here I will go ahead and Catacomb. And I will Thief of Sanity. My opponent very, like, almost certainly they apparently didn't have a removal spell. So that's cool. I'm going to be honest with you, I did not expect this to be the deck I'm facing. Oh, right. I was like, why didn't you attack? I'm going to go ahead and smack in there. See what I can get off the top. I guess. I don't think I even care about playing that. I think I would rather just Carnage my opponent. Just completely run them out of stuff to do. They might have other reassembling skeletons in their hand, but like, those aren't really great cards against me, so this should be a pretty easy game. Since I'm doing ranked stuff, I can actually talk a little bit more about. God, my lips are getting red because I'm drinking. What the hell is that stuff called? Fruit punch. Need to make sure that I'm connected to the internet. I am. Thank you. I missed what they discarded. Okay, sure. I don't like. Sure. I don't like that it's not immediately apparent what the symbols are. Like, I assume my opponent is lower ranked than me, but I don't actually know. You know, let's attack him first. It's unlikely that my opponent has a non-creature spell that I want to care about. I guess I'll take Death Baron. This is a zombie? Yeah, I guess it is. I didn't know that. So, I could play a Swamp, play a Sky March, cast down this or something. Okay, I was about to be very upset. Actually, I still might have to be upset. Right? Does this mean I have to restart before I can play another game? Before I can queue into another game? Because that would be very annoying. Because I'm trying to record, and I don't edit. I don't have the time. I don't have time for this, wizards. Grave Digger. Sure, I do not care. I do not care. What are you going to get back? Epicure? No, we didn't have mana for that yet. Just horror again? Yeah, just infected horror, sure. That's fine with me. I will block. Will I? Yeah, might as well. Contempt is cool. Sure. No, we'll just play it. I don't care. And this is why Thief of Sanity is so great. Very strange. Okay, I'm very much hoping that I don't have to like actually like reconnect or like re-download stuff, because that would be very frustrating. Sure, I'm gonna... Oh, you're back up to 10 though. It's unfortunate. Ooh, I can Hashitaker this, attack my opponent, and then the next turn... No, I don't have enough mana to do all of that. So yeah, I guess I'll just Hostage Taker it. This is mine now, thanks. Could have a kill spell, but I'm actually just going to duress him now. Well, actually, I guess I'll attack first. Not going to cast that. I would rather duress to try and make sure. Sure. Do I play Carnival here? Not really a reason to. Nah. Yay! Okay, moment of truth. Do I have to restart? We already made it to gold! Claim prize. Okay, I can still play. Very, very important. So actually, I do have Cat Bus. That's a reference. I don't know what to. No, I'm thinking of Cat Bug. Whatever, it's fine. Oh no, it's Cat. I think it's the Cat Bus from a Ghibli film. Ghibli? Ghibli? Who cares? What was I saying? What? I hope I will think about it again. We're going second, which sucks because it makes both of these cards worse. The rest is still helpful. We can't even cast Duress on turn 1 anyway, so we'd be casting it on their turn. No, we play this turn 1, so they go 1, 1, 2, 2. So I'd be playing it on their turn 2, which is okay, I guess. Sure, I'll keep this. It's definitely one of the more risky keeps that I'm keeping. Ooh, yep. Yep. This is what I like to call not a good time. Yeah, this is potentially unfortunate if my opponent has a way to protect their Mystical Herald as well as have a Curious Obsession here. Like, if they Obsession here, I'm kind of screwed. Okay, cool, they didn't. Would have loved to have Carnival in this place. That's another reason Carnival is really nice against these decks. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do this. My opponent might counterspell this, but that's fine. Because they don't have access to a counterspell that will use it. Will work anyway. Top, alright. Just another op, that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. I don't think my opponent should be using their ops, to be honest. Okay, that's actually a very good thing to see here. It means that they don't really have much going on. Now I could play Thief of Sanity, or I can hold up a Sabotage. I think I would prefer to play a Thief of Sanity, knowing that my opponent may use... Well, my opponent would not really want to use the Merfolk Trickster anymore. But they still did. I feel like that's incorrect. Because I couldn't block the 1/1 anyway. I don't know. Because now I can hold up Contempt. And Sabotage, yeah, that's fine. So I'm not going to hold up Contempt, I'm going to Contempt, or attempt to Contempt that Genie. So he would need to have exactly Spell Piercer, of course. Of course he has Dive Down! Of course! The card that they top deck is absolutely Dive Down. Well, okay, cool. I know I have like full info. I'm going to take a little bit of a beating here. That seems like an incorrect attack to me. How much is this? 1, 2, 3? Okay, well. That can't actually be used, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 8, so it still costs... Oh no, it costs 4. Not gonna attack. And that's why. I don't think I double checked. I think I triple checked that. Curious Obsession. What kind of newfangled mono blue deck is this? Oh God, that scared me for a second. I was like, ah! I didn't concede the entire game, did I? Entire match. What kind of fucking bullshit is this? Alright, this absolutely negates, absolutely. I'm not sure about how to take it, but I like it. I like this. I don't think I need any of these. The rest's probably still decent. I kind of just want, like, all of my removal. I don't think Thief of Sanity is actually good in this matchup. Angrath is fine. Eldest Reborn's not, I don't think. Let's see. Shut up! I'm so sorry, everyone. So the reason is they usually have one or two creatures that they don't care about dealing with. Thief of Sanity is just not great when a large number of their things are flying and are bigger than it. Obviously, getting it down early is nice, but I just want as much removal as I can have. I think Sabotage might actually just be too slow in this matchup. It would be a little bit easier to just constantly remove their creatures. I'm honestly not certain about that. Maybe I cut a Duress. I'll cut both Duress. Having Duress is, I think, important. I think Carnival's really helpful as well at dealing with those early game cards. This is definitely not easy. I'm not going to bring in both negates. Why is this? I didn't want it to be in the thing, the card style. I've grown to really dislike them. Play first. Cast a Moment of Craving. I mean, this is a good hand. We have removal. Right. So the question I have is, should I include... That's fine. Should I include in the thumbnail... So I'm going to include the Mythic symbol. Should I include the symbol of where I am at currently? Not... There's so many options. I mean, should I include it where I'm at currently? Should I include it where I will be at the end of the video? So I'll have that in my pinned comment as well. What the? Why wasn't I allowed to kill that? That's fucking ridiculous. Why wasn't I allowed to kill that? The reason I used Moment of Craving there is if this did resolve, then I wouldn't be able to use it otherwise. Okay, so we killed that. They did get value out of it. Drawing too many lands. So I need to draw like something live. Oh, that's nice. That's pretty damn nice. I'm gonna go ahead and play this Drowned Catacomb. Gonna duress my opponent. You don't need to Trickster in response, dude. I can't hit Trickster. Or maybe they're just trying to counter this. Negate. Interesting. Sure. That's fine with me. Insight at the end of their turn. That's interesting. Yeah, this is a very strange style of mono blue, I think. And it looks like my opponent may have taken out a bit of their aggression, and I think that's just wrong. I am the control deck in this situation. Without a shadow of doubt. Just pass the turn. Okay. 5 mana, sure. Just gonna drop my swamp. Cool. Got Search for Contempt, that's very helpful. You gonna counter this? No? Alright. I feel like for the road to Mythic, I'm going to use as few shortcuts as possible. I think I'm actually going to click through my phases. Do I want to counter this? No. I would rather try and kill it. Yeah, I'm fine taking 2 damage here. That's fine. I just get a good cry on. I would like this. So here I'm going to cry. Sure, that's fine. I must insist. I can still pay for a Spell Pierce. Dive down would give +3. That would put it to 5. Unfortunate. That lives, but that's fine. Sure. Ooh! Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do at all. So we got rid of a bit of protection, which is nice, because this does target. At 6, my opponent very well could... No, that's fine. I was going to say they could Curious Obsession. So the question for me is, do I want to Carnival the Storm Tamer so I can flip Azcanta? And I think I do, to be honest. They should have sacked it unless they need all 4 of that mana. Because if they sacked it... if they had sacked their Siren Storm Tamer, they wouldn't have taken the 1 damage to their face. Let's see, so I do believe I have... Yep, I have mana for this, as well as Contempt if I need it, and Azcanta to use it. Very possible my opponent has an Essence Capture. In fact, I think it's a little too possible. So instead, I'm just going to pass the turn. Because I have a flipped Azcanta now. At this point, I am still 13. My opponent, you know, we're on par for cards. So I am definitely in the driver's seat here. So I want to just maintain that advantage until I believe I've given myself sufficient time to be sure that I am, excuse me, just 8, that I'm going to be safe in taking the reins of this game. So let's go ahead and target out the Merfolk. Absolutely. I'm absolutely fine. Have a dive down. That is totally fine with me. I think I actually prefer Thought Erasure, which may sound strange. Never mind. The play was going to be Thought Erasure to make sure my Nicol Bolas could get through. And the reason it was strange is because they wouldn't have they would no longer have a card in hand. But now I can Thought Erasure to make sure my Hostage Taker comes through and get rid of that, which is something that would have been annoying. And now I Hostage Taker this. I play it. And my opponent has a single... Sure. Technically, like a single card draw while my shields are down. Fantastic. I want them to attack first. Sure. Let's use this. There's very little reason not to. Ooh, Angrath is fun. Angrath is fun. I know this is Bolas control. But I'm trying to win here, okay?
No steel.
No fire, no steel. Angrath is sweet cow dad. Excuse me, opponent. I'm still connected to the internet. Please respond. Thank you. It was an Essence Capture. Them plays. Got there. Fantastic. Oh, right, I conceded the first game. Awkward. Do I want to change anything now that we're going second? Now that we're going second, do I want to change anything? I think Sabotage gets worse. I think Sabotage gets a little worse, and Negate, although it can't hit their creatures, can hit things like Entrancing Melody, other cards that are important like Curious Obsession, Dive Downs, things like that. I think this is the correct decision going into Game 3. So let's see if we can beat Mono Blue with them going first. I really shouldn't crack my knuckles into the audio. Ooh, my opponent mulligan, that's nice. I think... I don't like the other 4 lands, but, you know, we have Chemister's Insight, we have Thought Erasure, Descry, we have Lava Coil. I think this is a keeper. Ooh, they mulligan down to 5. I have no remorse while I'm climbing. My opponent mulled to 5, so be it. Ooh, another... let's see, so we have Summit, so yes, I want to play this first. Another Lava Coil is nice. Storm Tamer. Sure. Should I attempt to Lava Coil this? I think I do. They could have Dive Down into Curious Obsession the following turn, which would make sense based on how they played this, because they would have potentially played this on turn 1, unless they top decked it, which is less likely than them just holding it. To be sure. There's no reason really to Thought Erasure, because I do assume that my opponent would sack their Storm Tamer. Although I guess that functionally still does what I want it to accomplish, right? I would lose out on the Scry, but I think my opponent may be on, like, just the Storm Tamer. So I think this is actually the best play, because my opponent either loses their creature, or they allow me to deal with their card. Deep Freeze is not going to matter. I don't know why you have Deep Freeze here. Absolutely just take Curious Obsession. I will drop to Watery Grave. Fantastic. So my opponent didn't have a way to say this, for what it's worth. Sure. There's not... I know your hand gather, so there's not a reason to not play the Tempest Djinn. There's not a reason to not play the Tempest Djinn. Unless, of course, you wanted to save it with your Silent Storm Tamer, but you can't. And I really think that this is just a dead card. I'll play this, I suppose. You know, getting some chip damage in here and there. Here, I believe what I'm going to do... I definitely want to play Search for Azcanta. I'll take the 2 lumps, I think that's fine. So we'll cast my Azcanta first. Thank you. Now the question is, do I Lava Coil Siren Storm Tamer? I believe the answer is no. I believe I would rather hold up Counter Magic for a play that is stronger. Like, I forgot to not auto pass. Oh right, I can't counter that anyway, you dum-dum. This is negate. I'm so stupid. Ooh. Doesn't deal with the Tempest Djinn, but that's kind of fine because it's a 2-for-1. I could just keep it on top. Library, and just kill this now. I guess I would have saved the exact same amount of damage. No, except that Tempest Djinn could be stronger next turn, and I have Negate up just in case they draw something like a Dive Down. Okay, everything's fine. Everything's fine. I would like a land here. Not a land, but I think Duress is functionally the same thing. Because I just want to make sure that the pathway is clear. Alright, well, sure. Pathway's clear. And cry. Sure, I will absolutely take this. Opponent doesn't have any creatures on field, so I really don't mind if they end up countering this. Dive down, absolutely. I'm at 6. 1 discard, I get this to flip, which is nice. But we don't need it. We win. Cool. Fantabulous. Oh, 1 away from rank 3. Please turn that down, Wizards. Fantastic. Got 2 wins early on. So I have 2 questions. I have 2 important questions for all of my fantastic viewers out there. Oh, crap, I should have mentioned that the majority of people did want best of 3. I believe it came out to... Actually, I can just pull it up on my side screen. Because I'm a professional with 2 monitors. Okay. Excuse me. So, only 35% of people wanted best of 1. What that means to me is that still more than a third do want competitive best of 1. So what I'll likely end up doing is that once War comes out, if there is a deck that I feel is fun and competitive that happens to work better in best of 1, then I'll play that deck from time to time. But the majority of my gameplay, since fucking 65, those numbers add up. Since 65% of people want me to play best of 3, I'm going to do the majority in best of 3 with the few decks I've already mentioned, and possibly some changes with War. The vast majority of people wanted webcams. Only 18% didn't. So I'm going to keep using webcams. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But I have 2 more important questions for you all that I might post on the poll if I feel like I'm not getting enough responses. But should I include in the thumbnail the rank at which I'm starting the video in? I honestly forgot the other question. Shit. Well, that's awkward. Oh, right. And how do you want me to handle talking about my matches in the in my pin? Well, technically in my description box, but no one reads those. So when I pin that comment, how should I discuss my best of 3 games, right? Because my second one, I went 2-1, right? I lost one of the games and I won 2 of the games. So should I, when talking about it, list the times that each game starts or each match starts? There's a lot of information here, I know, but this is very important information for me because I want to make sure I'm getting the best content out there that I can. So should I list the timestamps of when the match starts or each individual game starts? And for the win-loss, should I have it as total games won and lost, or should it just be the matches overall won or lost? I would prefer not to do both because it technically is, even though it's only a small amount of extra work, it is extra work, and those types of things over time will pile on. So I just want to make sure I'm getting a bit of that information from you all, and I will have that in my pinned comment. So now that we're done with that cool thing, I'm really excited about doing this thing, doing this climb, because I really love talking about my specific actions, my thought process in competitive matches. So I hope that you all enjoy this as much as I plan on enjoying it. And of course, I would like to thank my lovely patrons, especially Salamander and Croft and Zin, for their continued support. If you'd like to join them and support the channel, you'll find the links to that down in the description below, along with links to the Discord server. Let's rewind that a bit. You can also join Dopey Dopes and Nibilis, in being channel members. You can just press the join button if you don't want to deal with Patreon. Going back to the Discord, we play games. I ask questions to people that get into videos, and I wreak havoc. It's always a ton of fun. I do, of course, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go and tap that like button, add one of them sweet subscriptions to your mana pool, cast one of them comments in the comment section down below, and pass the turn and the video to some of your friends. And until next time, all will be one.